Okay, so I'm Grasswalker. I ran a pay-to-play campaign for about 2 years, and I'm here to talk to you today about creating a character, both in Roll20 for 5th edition and what I consider an exceptional quality that will probably impress some DMs out there, or at the very least put you on par with some of the good players. My editing software has gone completely kaput, so we're going to build this haphazardly with no retakes, no anything. Instead of editing all my mistakes away, it's just going to be the full frontal. Let's put some music on and begin. So, I rolled a d12 to decide which class of a sample character I'm going to make, because the class doesn't really matter right now. I'm just going over, instead of me talking about all the classes and what decision I want to make, I'm just going to pick one, and then you can pick yours. So, we're going to make a fighter, because you go down the play handbook list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what we're deciding on. We're going to make a fighter. So, when making a character, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. As long as you're pretty much done in the end, it doesn't matter what order you started from, whether you started in the top left corner, top right corner, bottom right corner, in the middle, wherever you want to start from, that's fine. And it doesn't matter which order you can do all the corners, then fill in the middle, start in the middle, then do the corners in clockwise, anti-clockwise. Same thing with a character. It doesn't matter what order you're going to do it in, as long as you've done it all. So, for me, I always start with character art, because I don't want to build a mental image in my mind of a very specific concept, like a Tabaxi warlock who wears chainmail. She has this two-handed sword that has spikes and fire, and then like their boots are tied together or something. Just some really specific stuff, and like fur color, eye color, hairstyle. If you get all that in your mind, you will never find character art for what you're looking for, unless you've got like Moneybags McGee over here and you commission a boy to do it. So for me, I find the character art first, then I decide the more mechanical side of the character, which is the class, the race, and the stat allocation. With all of that done, I move on to background, backstory, personality, starting gear and equipment, and then just some fluff stuff. So, if we're going to do it in my order, which we are because it's my video and you can't tell me what to do, we're going to do character art first. Resources for character art. Good old Google Images. We're making a fighter, so we've Googled soldier character art. It's giving me like sci-fi stuff, so we do fantasy soldier character art. Okay, this is a bit more like it. That's a nice image right there. Just could probably Photoshop that logo out and really piss off the company that did it. Or we could look for champion character art, or we could do just fantasy warrior character art. Or if you know any games of a similar art style, like you could do WoW, which is World of Warcraft, and I've got like Center Art Dread art right there. WoW warrior art, and then there's all these over here. Like that's a nice little tiefling artwork right there. There's an orc artwork. You can't really go wrong with that. I also like the subreddit r/imaginary characters. Filter it by top of the week, top of the month, top of the year, depending on how often you visit the subreddit, and you will bump into all kinds of really good character arts. So there's Annabelle, that's a really nice one. I actually haven't even decided on one that we'll use, but there's one. I like that. It's a female character in armor, functional armor, nice sword. So we save that somewhere, stick it in my D&D character art folder of all the stuff that I've done, and it will be my fighter art. Go into Roll20, click the edit button, click choose file, go into the folder that you've put it in, and fighter art will come up. Upload it, give it a few seconds for my terrible internet, and eventually it will upload, hopefully. Perfect. So now we've got a mental image of our character. So we already know some stuff just from finding that art. We know that they're going to be in heavy armor, they've got a sword plus something, they've got like this battle-worn aspect to them. That armor is roughed up. They have seen something. So where is it? There it is. Let's open it full screen, zoom in for some details. We've got eye colour, we've got a gender, we've got some hair, we've got looking up to something. I don't know what that yellow like tabard slime is right there, but we've got a good image of a character already just from that artwork, and then we can expand from that as we see fit. So now that we've got a character art, we need a class. Well, I rolled a d12 to pick my class. however you want to pick your classes, up to you. I'm not going to sell certain classes to you, explain the advantages, disadvantages of classes. The good thing about 5e is that no matter what you pick, you're not going to go too wrong. So above class and level, click add. We will go fighter, because that's what we've chosen. Fills in some stuff for us thanks to the shape sheets, which I always recommend. They are the strictly superior sheets. Race. See, this is where finding character art first will flip things around, because I found artwork and my race will represent the artwork that I found. Whereas you might choose to solidify, I'm going to be a tiefling, and then you find your artworks. Instead of maybe just scrolling through a subreddit of amazing art, you will be keywording things on Pinterest, Tumblr, DeviantArt, I don't know what weird sites you're getting your art from. But we can see that this character fits one of a couple of races. Human, half-elf, maybe full elf if we're cheeky, because you technically can't see the ears, which I always like in artwork. Race-wise, just as a whole, this wiki is really good. It's not D&D wiki, never go on D&D wiki, please, for the love of God, don't go there. But Engel 393 D&D 5th, awful, awful name. Amazing resource. So the fighter, we get all these features, we get equipment and stuff, but I'll fill that in later. I want to figure out my race first. I think you can't go wrong with a good old half-elf. So we will choose to be a half-elf, and we get all of these things. So now that we've decided on some mechanical stuff, we're going to start filling in the sheet. So half-elf traits, charisma 2, other scores by 1. So we'll just make a note of that. Plus 2, other scores +1/+1. Because we don't want to assign them just now, or else we might screw ourselves over. Age, anywhere from 20 to 180. So let's go back to our artwork. They're seasoned looking, but somewhat young. So let's go for 57. Elves age weirdly, so it's always strange to play super old characters. Same size as humans, 5 to 6 foot tall. Your size is medium. Size is already set to medium. I could set our height to 5'9". Just seems like a reasonable random choice to go for. Speed 30 feet. So we find the little speed column, turn on the edit button. Speed 30 feet. Dark vision, we can see in darkness as if it was dim light for 60 feet. So we go down here to the dark vision column, 60 feet. Fey ancestry. Now this is something we can't just put anywhere. So we have to create a racial trait called Fey ancestry. And then copy and paste the text in. And then we can ping that to chat when the DM is like, make a wisdom save, you're gonna get charmed. And I'm like, Fey ancestry. Gain 2 skills of our choice. So again, let's not choose those right now. Skills of choice. Common, Elvish, 1 extra language of our choice. So common, Elvish, +1. Variants, we will decide to not do a variant. If your variants are open, speak to your DM. Again, everything in this entire video is dependent on your campaign, your DM, your party, all that good stuff. We'll come into more of that later. Fighter, level 1, you get 10 health plus con. We haven't decided our con yet, so we can't fill that in. We get proficiency in all armor shields. Oh, it's done for us. Thank you, shaped sheets. We get 2 skills from the following. We're just taking note of stuff for now. No tools, no anything. We get a fighting style. I believe that's already took note of up here. Fighting style second wind. So you can click the little edit cogwheel. There we go, that would have been edited out. Coughing, dying. So we have a choice of fighting style up here. So now we have to start thinking about, mechanically, what are we going to be doing with ourselves? What does the party need? What is the campaign focused on? What is my character going to end up being? We're a fighter, so we could be a big damage dealer, we could be a quote-unquote tank, we've got plate armor over here, we've got swords and something, 2 swords it almost looks like, sword and a pike maybe, who knows. But If we are using swords, we have to choose between strength and dex, because we could reflavor a rapier to be whatever that is. But if we're in big heavy armor, we want strength. So now we need to think about our stats. If your campaign is point buy, you're free to mess around on a site such as 1d8blogspot.co.uk, and you can just poke around as long as your points are 27, or whatever the Dungeon Master says the point calculation is. Right now I've got the standard array in, so we'll just use that. We'll put 15 in strength, because then our half-elf racial can pop that up to 16. So now we only have one half-elf racial. The 14, if we're in heavy armor and we're using strength weapons, we don't really need dex that much. So maybe let's put the 10 in dex, swap the 14 over here. Constitution is our ability not to die. I think 13 is good there, and then we can round it up with the other half-elf plus 1. So we will have 14 Constitution. Dexterity we're leaving at 10, so we'll just leave that at 10. Which means we have a 12, an 8, and a 14 to mess around with. I really like playing party faces, so I'm going to stick that 14 in this. Put the wisdom to 8 maybe. So charisma wise, half-elf racial gives us +2. Now, we've got like this strong, hardy, charismatic knight kind of character, which I really like, but we have to choose their weakness because we've got an 8 and a 10. An 8 and a 12 even, so we have to choose if they're going to be unwise or unintelligent. Mechanically, min-maxy, dump int, it's worse. However, flavorfully, let's go for unwise. Maybe let's knock the age back a few years. Let's say that they're only 27, which is very young for a half-elf. That's only just maturity. So they're unwise because they don't have much life experience. However, maybe let's up their dex to show that they're elvish, and put the int to 10. So they're of average intelligence, they're just not very world smart, they haven't been out there before. Maybe because they're level 1, they haven't actually had an adventure before. However, they're strong, they're durable, and they're sociable, they're friendly. Health is 10 plus con at first level, so you've got 12 current, 12 max. Hit points are done. Got a couple of choices for skills and such, but I like to save those to the end. Especially because the background we choose will give us, skills. The background gives us skills, so I don't want to pick a skill now and then have a background overlap and then have to repick it. It's just sheer laziness from my behalf. So we can choose our fighting style now if we wish, or we can wait till we have more of a decision on what kind of weapons they're going to be using. But you can't go wrong with defense. We are in heavy armor, it fits the whole tanky durable knight kind of thing. But likewise we could do more damage. Maybe speak to the party and say, hey, do we have 3 barbarians? Are we good for tanking? Or do we have 3 wizards and you need somebody who can eat some hits? Because then maybe defense or protection will fit. Maybe talk to the DM about the campaign. Is it going to be a campaign based in the woods and there's a load of lakes and you're going to be climbing and swimming non-stop? In which case, go for marina. In which case, we probably should have picked armour that's in an artwork that has play armour. Either way, we are pretty much done with point buy. However, take a note of your point buy somewhere. Misc notes. Point buy. 15 strength. +1 from half-elf. +1 is what we had. 10 dex. No, we did 12 dex is what we did. 12 dex. 13 con. +1. That not being capitalised is getting me. Int, we gave 10. 10 int. 8 whiz. 15. 14 charisma. +2. The reason we're writing it down is so that if the DM asks, hey, what did you spend your point buy on? Where did you put your array? I don't understand your stats, you can just copy and paste it. Or if the DM is combing through your sheets to check everything's done fine. It's just a politeness measure. When I dungeon mastered a campaign and people rocked up to my game and they rolled their stats and they did their arrays and they made a character and they applied their racial bonuses, I would look through their sheets and I'm like, how's this guy have 19 strength? I ain't give anybody 19 strength. It's just nice to have somewhere in the sheet just an acknowledgement of you're working out as if you're doing a maths exam. We've got this still saved for later, and we've got a language we can play with. We'll leave this open for now. Can close that though. Okay, so background, backstory, personality, this kind of stuff. Backgrounds are available on this wiki thing. Every story has a beginning. You may choose, as according to Play Handbook page 126, to build your own background by butchering parts of an existing background into another one. So you can say, I'm going to take the feature from Clan Crafter, but I don't want those skills, I don't want those tools, I'm going to take this instead. By the rules of the book, that is completely fine, and I do it every game, and I love it when my players do it as well. However, speak to your DM about it. It's not even a variant rule, it is base rules, but sometimes they like to disable it. So, our character, we've decided that they're young, we've decided that they're unwise, so really we could start filling in some of these traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws up here. But if their background is that they're super young and they haven't had an adventure before, that cuts out some of these, like Soldier or Haunted One, some of the big meaty, experienced folk. So let's think. Are they a noble, and that's how they got this super fancy armor, and they're just looking to go out into the world for the first time? Who knows? One way to do backgrounds that I quite like is the Xanathar's tables. So there's a website that does it all for you, and you can just click roll, and it'll give you a full character, start to finish. Bit much for my liking. I prefer to make some of the choices, but we are a half-elf, we are a fighter. I'm not worried about any of these yet. So this one is saying that we're a noble, so even the table has randomly determined to double down on that idea that I mentioned being a noble. You became a noble because your family is filled with remarkable people, you hope to live up to their example. I like that. You became a fighter because you grew up fighting, you refined your talents by defending yourself against people that crossed you. I quite like both of these. So just from the tables, we've just simulated a random background. All we did was we looked through the backgrounds, associated our 8 wisdom with, I probably haven't done a load of adventuring before, and then we bumped into noble and we're like, okay, we've got some fancy armor in our character art, maybe we're a noble, maybe that's what funds this. We did the Xanathar's tables and they gave us noble again. So you know what? We're gonna do that. We're gonna be background noble. And became a noble because our family is filled with remarkable people. You hope to live up to their example. Became a fighter because you grew up fighting. So that to me isn't the normal snooty noble. To me that sounds like the variant noble knight. A knighthood is the lowest type of noble, but it can be a path to higher status. So if you have a family of knights, who are remarkable people, as we rolled, that kind of fits. So, we add a trait, which is knighthood, or knight, or background, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to have... Actually, no, that's not the trait. That's more of like a description about it. So we will put our description about it just here. We'll save that for now. But we'll take the feature, the retainer feature, which we have to have as a knight. If your character has a noble background, you may select this instead of position of privilege. Well, we don't really need that constantly reminded to us. I have the service of 3 retainers loyal to my family. These retainers can be attendants, messengers, or a majordomo. I don't know if that's how you say that. Your retainers are commoners who can perform mundane tasks for you. So let's say that we have Messenger Tim, Majordomo John, and just, it says they can be, which means they're examples. So I want to give one that at least isn't written there. So let's say Boot Shiner Paul. So I have these 3 commoners that will accompany me anywhere that isn't dangerous and won't fight for me, but it'll provide some funny roleplay scenarios where I have the 16 charisma and Boot Shiner Paul is coming, shining my boots in the middle of a speech or something. I quite like that. I like this a lot. There are some characteristics for nobles. We can work with those if we so please, but I think these Xanathar's tables rolls for them as well. It does not. Background noble traits. My eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in the world. That is precious. I will take that and put that in my sheet. So this fits our charisma. We are a charming, lovely person, which to me makes me feel like our alignment is leaning towards good. The common folk love me for my kindness and generosity. To me, that doesn't seem like a trait. That seems like an ideal or a bond. I'm bonded to the common folk because I love them and they love me. Or my ideal is that all the common folk will love me. So depending on if they already do or don't, I think they don't because we've got that low wisdom and we've not done much before. Bond, the common folk will love me. The common folk will love me. So you've got some depth to our character now. We're already building out what their goals are, what they're aiming towards. No one could doubt. Oh wait, yeah, we have got these traits from Xanathar's, so it did roll them for me. Power, face any challenge, to win the approval of my family. I often bring shame to my family. This is a cute bond floor combo where I will do anything for the approval, but I keep shaming them. I kind of like that. So we've got a heavy family theme, and we've got a heavy approval longing thing. So I want the common folk to love me, and I want my family to love me. I just want everyone to love me, because deep down I'm insecure as fuck, and I'm never going to be a real knight, and all this good stuff. By my words and actions I often bring shame to my family. I'm constantly worried I'm not good enough. Fits the theme that we've sort of been bumping into over and over again, which is I'm trying to flatter everyone to distract them from the fact that I'm not good enough to be a knight. My family is full of remarkable people, but I'm not like them. I'm not a remarkable people. And then you get this character arc throughout the campaign where you either double down on that and you're like, man, I really keep fucking up these quests and killing commoners. Maybe I'm really not cut out for this. Or you go the other way, and through the campaign you find your character constantly succeeding, and they stop bringing shame to their family. And maybe they bring some honor to their family, and people start sending gifts to your noble family saying, holy shit, your son, your daughter is amazing. She saved me and my farm. Fighter. Heraldic sign. I don't know what that is. I think it's like the symbol on me. So we've already got like a golden thing here. So we could have a tabard. A golden dragon on a green field representing valor and a quest for wealth. I think we cut those last 4 words. I don't think they're greedy. I think they're a noble. They've got wealth. They've got everything. Like they're doing this because they want to prove themselves. They could just, as a noble, sit down and retire for a cushy life and do nothing with themselves. So I think this sign of a gold dragon on a green field representing valor fits a lot, because they're wearing this sign as an outward, almost like outfit. They don't actually have any of those qualities, but they're trying to show people that they do. Family. Your mother is an elf, works as an entertainer. Your father is a human and is a politician or bureaucrat. That is so noble it hurts. You had 4 siblings. A soldier, a labourer, alive and infamous, another labourer, an artisan or guild member. Okay, so let's play around with this a little bit. Put in our backstory. Mother is an elf and works as an entertainer. That's cool. What kind of entertainment does she do? Maybe she hosts parties for nobles, and then that's how the family has maybe bumped into things. Maybe she is a retired knight who does entertaining, like, exhibition jousts, something like that. Let's go exhibition jouster, because that's a really fun phrase to say. Father is a human and a politician or bureaucrat. I like that a lot, because that's already a very noble kind of thing. 4 siblings. A younger brother who serves as a soldier. So he's younger than me, he's a soldier, he outranks me, he's better than me, we get on well, but he's one of those people that fills my family. Here, you became a noble because your family's filled with remarkable people that you hope to live up to. He's younger than me and he's outperforming me. How's that going to impact on my character as a person? A older brother who works as a labourer, they're alive and infamous. I think we cut that. It's not a family full of remarkable people if there's this, like, black stain on the family. However, if you want, you could easily keep that. You could say, yeah, family's great, except for this one sleazebag. Everyone else is great, so maybe I'm not that bad after all. But I think we change labourer to knight. They are alive and famous. You get on with each other. You barely, you tolerate each other. Older sister who's a labourer, gets alive and well. Artisan or guild member, alive and well. You get on with each other. Well, I've constantly rolled that I get on with my family, so that fits this charisma build, this charmingness build again. But I like these 4 siblings. It's always nice to have a tie to the world. Depending on where your campaign's set, speak to your DM. Is there a noble house somewhere with all of these people in it? Are we starting in a city that could house that noble house? Or if we're starting on, like, something going somewhere, am I leaving them behind? I hate campaigns that have the whole, you start in this place, however you're about to board a boat to abandon your former life and go here. Because I can't really, my backstory doesn't really matter. We're about to abandon a continent and never go back. Like, not all games do that. You have to understand the sort of specific thing I'm talking about. But the campaign begins by you going somewhere where no one's ever been before, abandoning everything kind of trope. Like, I joined a game and he's like, alright, you're starting on this continent for an entire session 0, and then you're leaving that continent to go somewhere else. To me, that makes me feel like my backstory isn't worth writing, because it's on a continent we're going to abandon and never go back to. So sure, it shapes who my person is right now, but I'm going to do it really lazily. But if your campaign is set, for example, this campaign I'm starting to plan is set in a city, the entire game is going to take place in and around this city, so if your backstory is you've lived in the city your whole life, you're going to have a lot to work with. However, if your backstory is I've come here from a faraway land, you'll be getting that first impression on the city. Don't know why I went on that off rant. It's more, I think it's because I rolled all these mother, father, siblings. So that's 6 bonds in the world already. So, bond. It could just be, I love my family. I feel like these two are quite similar, but that's a different one. I'm gonna overcome. That's more of an ideal. I will face any challenge to win the approval of my family. Bonds. I love my family. And my childhood home. It depends if they moved around or not, but I imagine nobles wouldn't. But let's see. You were born at home. You were raised by your single mother. See, that doesn't make any sense because I have a father and a mother, and it's like it's a big family. Everything's awesome. How could I be raised by a single mother and then have a younger brother? It's like, yeah. I like the large house, I like the modest lifestyle, I like the born at home. So let's take a note of that somewhere. So backstory. Before I nearly delete everything then. Born at home, modest lifestyle, which is a big thing to say, to have a modest lifestyle supporting like 6 people in that family. Large home. I like all of this. Life events. A family member or close friend died. They were consumed by a monster. So let's figure out who we're gonna kill. She is the least extraordinary, so we're gonna have her killed. A family member or close friend died. So let's change that to past tense. You got on, you worked, they are fucking dead. They are dead as heck. They were consumed by a monster. Consumed by a monster. So now we've got a lot of backstory to play with, and we can add an ideal. I will avenge my fallen sister and slay the monster that did it to her. So now we've got a bunch of stuff. So let's maybe go on the noble and grab one more trait, just so that we have 2 instead of none. No one could doubt by looking at me that I'm a noble. I take great pains to follow the fashion trends. I don't like to get my hands dirty, or we're the opposite of that. I do not place myself above other folk. I quite like that. So, we're a character that doesn't have an internal moral code. We don't really have, from what I'm seeing, I'll kill demons, I'll kill this, if you do this to me, I'll do that. We don't have like that pirate's code, thieves pact, warlock patron kind of cleric god kind of thing going on where we have to follow a strict set of rules. So we're not lawful. We're neutral or chaotic. We're not very, potentially chaotic because we just fucking like up and adventured because our sister died, but I'm feeling good about neutral good. Experience, I assume we have none. Our race we can fill in as half-elf. Some of the stuff that I've already forgotten to do. Inspiration we don't have, I don't think. But we've done a lot of work here. We have done a lot of work here. This is some good stuff, and all we've done from it is poked around random backgrounds, stealing features, stapling together stuff from what we feel. What we just feel fits, what we feel like we want to play, what I feel like might make a good story. So now we can move on to picking our fighting style. I've got this thing where I want to save everybody, so I'll just take fighting style defense. It also is always nice to have. So fighting style defense, and we'll just delete everything that isn't defense because it's irrelevant. So mechanically we need to add that fighting style defense, or else it's just a load of text. So we go into the armor section and we put an armor that gives us +1. And that sets our AC to 12 because we have 1 dex and 1 defense. We are now done with fighter until we hit level 3 and we have to start picking archetypes, or level 4 and we have to start picking feats. But as far as I'm concerned, we are done with this page. Actually, got starting equipment. So, again, this is where if I was editing the video, I would be doing strict sections and not like lollygagging around, making random points. But equipment, it's min-max wise, it's always better to take the starting equipment because it's just more. It's just more than you will get. So, like chainmail is, I think, 50 or 75 gold. 2 martial weapons of your choice, that's another like 100 gold right there. A crossbow and some bolts, that's another 20 gold. And a pack worth 20 gold. We're looking at like a solid 200 gold worth of money. Alternatively, if we roll, we are rolling /roll 5d4, timesing it by 10, and that will give us something like... What's the average of that? Average of a d4 is 2.5. So it's going to give us about 120 gold. It's going to give us way less than the bog standard equipment. However, I want to talk about buying equipment, so we're going to do that. 160 gold. Not bad. Let's add that to our sheet. So we're going to ignore this stuff, and we're going to buy what we want from the adventuring gear thing. If you want to buy it from your handbook, or if you want to buy it from something else. I've just realised that this only has adventuring gear and not armour. So I need another wiki page open. Okay, not that. 5th edition wiki. Armour. Oh, no, it's American. We need armour. So, our budget, we have good strength, Ringmail, chainmail. I think the investment of chainmail is probably worth it. 75 gold puts us to 85, and we have chainmail. The chainmail gives us 60 in AC, so we are a tanky boy at level 1. Do we want sword and shield? I think maybe. It depends on... Okay, min-max wise, if you're making a strength character, get a two-handed weapon, do some stupid great weapon master polearm fighter, or do some stupid polearm fighter sentinel build and just cheese your way to victory. If your campaign is super min-maxy and you have to do that to keep up, go for it. If your campaign isn't super min-maxy and you're all new players, just do whatever you want. You can't really go wrong in 5e. So we're going to do good old sword and shield. We're going to be a tanky boy. A shield is 10 gold, so we're down to 75. But we have a shield, which gives us plus 2 AC in that little slot right there. So we have 19 AC at level 1. That is, whoa, that's some tanky stuff. Level 1 enemies have anywhere from plus 2 to plus 5 to hit, so we're only going to be getting hit about 25-30% of the time. If you're really cocky, take some dodge actions and just watch them have nothing to do to you. You can close that. We can customize this in a bit. We're just doing everything in random order, really, at this point. Some DMs say that if you roll for gold, you don't get your background. Some DMs say that if you do roll for gold, you do get your background stuff. I don't know which one is actually raw, but I feel like you do get it. So we're going to have a set of fine clothes. Fine clothes. And we can start adding some little flavour touches. Only the finest to present myself. And we can just add little bits of personality just all the way through here. A signet ring. So now we have to decide our family crest, which could be a golden dragon. The head of a golden dragon. And now that knighthood little thing right here is the family signet, and it's why I have it on my shield. So we could add that to our shield. Somebody's dying downstairs. Student houses, boys. Okay, so the shield now has that symbol on it. What else do we get? A scroll of pedigree. Scroll of pedigree. And that's to show that we have noble blood. 25 gold, that's quite nice, puts us back to around 100. So now we decide if we want languages, game sets, history, persuasion. We can choose these freely. Nothing forces us to choose these. So I'm going to say we already have a language, so I'm going to take a tool. So let's find what tools there are. Artisan's tools, here we go. Well, this has gone crashed. Okay, there we go. Just a blank 3 minutes in your music, that's fine by me. Tools. So what would a noble person be trained in using? What would a knight be trained in using? Dragon chess is cute. Smith's tools. I quite like that. Let's grab Smith's tools. So this little add button just here lets us create a new tool. Maybe assign strength. Strength feels like the most Smith's toolsy thing. Click the little button to make us proficient in it. What else is very much a nobles kind of thing to do? Brewing, carpentry is not cooking. I can never bring myself to make a female character that has cooks utensils because it just feels like it's the kind of thing that you shouldn't do. Glassblowers tools, masons, painters. Painting seems like a very noble thing to do. Let's go painter's tools. Painting feels like a dexterous kind of thing, so we'll put dex, we'll put the little tick. What else? We have acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, insight, history, intimidation, perception, survival. Min-max wise, some skills are better than others. Medicine is a mulligan, it's not worth taking. Just buy a healer's kit and you do the same thing. Some stuff like animal handling, unless your character is an animal handler and or the campaign is very animal themed, is probably never going to come up. Some stuff is samey. So like survival and nature have a very dangerous touching ground where do I know what a plant is because I've experienced it before? Or do I know what a plant is because I've read about it in a book? You can almost get away with one or the other. To have both means you're embracing that overlap and the extra stuff is not so good. However, some choices are just great or noble. So I feel like we would have some historic knowledge to represent us being taught a bunch of things. Perception, can't go wrong with being able to see things. Insight, I don't like. I want this person to be unwise. I want them to have bad things. But I don't want them to be blind, and we've dumped wisdom, so let's give them a bit of perception. They're unwise, they're not blind. So those are our fighter skills chosen. We have 2 half-elf skills to choose. I like persuasion. We're a very charismatic, friendly person, and this means even as a fighter, fighters normally being, especially with no expertises and no jack of all trades, no guidance, none of this, normally you get relegated to not face. However, we put 16 in charisma, put in a proficiency in persuasion. We have +5 to persuading kids, so that's fine. We have 1 skill of our choice. What fits this kind of character? We're a knight. It fits to be hench, so let's have athletics. This also opens up a lot of options in combat, such as pushing, grappling, dragging, all the good stuff, disarming people. So let's do that. So now the only thing we've got there is point buy. We've got some notes that we want to keep an eye on to like write into a fully fledged story at some point. Got some other stuff to fill in here, like weight, or we're very strong, we're in plate armor. Actually, no, the plate armor I don't think factors into the weight section, but let's just say they are a hench, 150 pounds. Hair, we need the artwork for that. Brown. Skin, pale. Eyes, we almost have the choice of that, but let's go for blue. Gender, whatever you prefer to identify as, female or NA, or just leave it blank and just let the DM struggle. Okay. So we went full circle back into skills despite being in the middle of doing equipment. We're officially done with nobility stuff. We took 2 tools, 2 skills, so we're done. Now, armor and shields we don't need, but we might need a weapon. Can't go wrong with a good old longsword. 15 gold, puts us to 85. Now you can drag and drop stuff. Go into this little eye in a circle here, search your weapon, and you can drag and drop most things. This is especially good for spells because it's just a lot of decisions and writing to copy and paste the spells. Gonna take a drink and all that. Edit this out. Editing software's fucked. Good days indeed. We have 1 weapon, but we're a fighter. We are proficient in all weapons. So let's get something that if they're a bit further away from us, we can still get them. Let's grab maybe a crossbow, maybe a longbow, maybe a short bow. A light crossbow, 1d8. With the extra attack feature, crossbows are a bit worse because you shoot them once and then you can't shoot them again despite extra attack. But that's a long time coming. It's more of a decision. Do you want to be a finger trigger puller or a bow drawer shooter? Let's just roll a d2. 1 will be a bow, 2 will be a crossbow. Crossbow it is. Let's put 25 gold on the table, Now let's have a light crossbow. Now, we don't want to only have a longsword in melee. We want some kind of backup weapon, something we can use if something gets too close for comfort. So let's buy a dagger or a club or something cheap. What have we got here that's cheap? Because we don't have infinite money right now. A hammer, a mace. The martial one's a pike. We could just get a pike. They do have a stick looking thing. Let's grab a pike for 5 gold. Pike. Gives us a reach weapon. We can't use it with our shield, but it'll give us a kind of thing to maybe brace for a charge, and then for... let's just have like a small thing to hide in a boot somewhere. A dagger or a club. I don't think we're worried about finesse or thrown, so let's just get a 1 silver club. So we break this gold into 10 silver, spend 1 of the silver on a club, and we will have a club. Just a good old little beat stick, just hidden in my boot. Something disarms me with my longsword, and I don't want to get my pike out. Just club and shield, bat, bat, bat. We can also use it for non-lethal damage. If we're fighting something that we don't want to kill because we're a nice person, we could take the club out, twat them over the head, a little bit of brain damage, a little bit of a concussion, but they won't be dead. So we've got our weapons. We've got our tools. Actually, we don't have our tools. We'd have to buy those. But those are some pricey tools. So let's buy Smith's tools. Smith's tools. And adventuring gear. Now, normally, the equipment packs save you a lot of money. So if you're buying just a pack of something, it gives you more in it than you would get for buying not a pack. The Explorer's pack is a very generic one, so let's get one of those. Gives us a bunch of stuff. One mistake players make is they just copy and paste all of this inside an Explorer's pack, but you need to divide it up. So we've got a backpack, we've got a mess kit, a tinderbox, mess kit, tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 rations, so torches and set the uses to 10, rations and set the uses to 10, and then we can put a little bit of flavour in here. We can put the finest food from the noble kitchen, and then if you're giving your food to another player, you can explain how much nicer it is than their food because you were raised in a noble house. Water skin and 50 feet rope. So we've got a lot of stuff now. I did a video on what to buy if you are direly poor on gold, and there are some goodies. There are some goodies hidden in this adventuring gear section that you should not completely neglect. Some stuff like a crowbar gives you advantage on strength checks to anything you can use a crowbar in. So if you buy a crowbar and you're this plated muscled fighter, you never have that embarrassing moment where you get a nat 1 and you break your own crowbar, you do nothing, you're like, ugh. However, if you have a crowbar, you roll with advantage, you're much more likely to be able to strength stuff open with your athletic checks. Climbers kits are nice, common clothes, a couple of candles, you can't go wrong with a candle. Let's split 2 of these silver into coppers, and let's buy 3 candles, just 3 scented candles. And it's just when everybody's relaxing and you've making camp, light a scented candle and just embrace your atmosphere as a noble. A blanket is just a nice cuddly thing to have. Seems like something any pampered noble would want. Lay it down on the floor so you don't have to sit on the floor. Ball bearings, antitoxins, sling bullets. Oh, we need crossbow bolts, so 20 bolts is 1 gold, which is an unfortunate expense for us. But some stuff that's super cheap, like chalk. Where's chalk? 1 piece of chalk for a copper, can't go wrong with that. Let's have some chalk, let's have just 1 piece of chalk. Some other stuff I mentioned in my video, I believe, was ink pens. So an ink pen is 2 copper, I believe. I think I've bought them enough. So an ink pen is only that, and a flask, I believe, is Control F flask. Let's find it up. Oil in a flask, holy water flask, flask or tankard, 2 copper. So we're gonna buy 3 flasks, and we can use them to store water or blood or something ink-like with poison, anything we bump into that we want to keep a hand on. Fishing tackle, crowbar, amulet. A holy amulet would be nice if we want to move into a god. Healer's kit is always a good buy because it just deletes the need to have medicine. Means you can save people's lives, and everyone loves you if you do that. Hunting traps, can't go wrong with those. Doesn't seem like a noble kind of thing, maybe. A ladder is funny, but inconvenient. We're half obviously in the dark, so we don't really need torches or stuff. Manacles for a citizen's arrest. Let's grab a pair of those. We are a knight after all. We should be able to club somebody, restrain them. A steel mirror. Seems like a kind of noble thing to have. Just keep an eye on your own appearance. What else have we got? Pythons, miner's picks, parchment, sacks. Just have a sack, use it for storage. Everyone needs to put something in something. But we bought a bunch of stuff. Let's stop buying stuff. But as you can see, this character is borderline complete. All we really need is a name, which I guess there are a bunch of name generator. Namegenerator.org. But there are a bunch of name generators. Let's just call them placeholder because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're called right now. And from here, there really isn't much, if anything, left to do other than figure out a character voice, decide some more fluff if you want another bond or an ideal. I always like adding a bond to one of my items at random. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Roll a 21. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I'm bonded to my mess kit. So what kind of bond would you have to a mess kit? My older brother's mess kit. And he used to be a knight, or he retired, or he still is a knight. And he's like, oh, I did all knight stuff, this is what I ate from. Now you can eat too. And it's just one of those, it's just a random item now has a lot of flavour to it. We have a language to pick, so ask the DM, do the nobles have their own like fancy Latin style language where all the nobles in high society speak haughty-taughty draconic? Or maybe the monster that killed a brother speaks a language. Speak to the DM about what monster killed them, or decide it for them and let them bump into that. Father is a human, he's a politician. Maybe ask, what's the political climate? Is it super bonded to dwarves and he's constantly haggling with dwarves? In which case you need dwarvish. But other than that, we are 99% done. This character, all you really need to do, close it, reopen it because we changed the name. For some reason, cheats do that. Click edit, type up a bit of a story, blah 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 blah. My brother died, I felt like this. However, noble life was great, I felt like this. My sister got this job, it was great, I felt like this. My father's a diplomat. Maybe a section on physical appearance. So you can have an appearance and then write a couple of lines just here. And then you can have backstory here and write a couple, maybe a paragraph or two, depends how much you feel. But that is how I make my characters, when I make characters. And I will open up an example of one that I've made. Oh, it's broken. I don't want AutoCAD anywhere running on Roll20 anyway. So here are my old characters that I played in other campaigns. So let's open up Ivan. Ivan is a character I spent a lot of time working on. So I've got an appearance section, which is right next to his artwork. I've got a backstory with the appearance. He has a goat, so I've got a picture of the goat. My backstory, I've got written down where he's from, what happened to his parents, what happened to him as a child and then as an adult, what led him to look into a life of adventure, how he became a druid, and just generally what his current and future plans are. And then everything's broken because I imported it from an OGL sheet. Do I have any that aren't imported from OGL sheets that didn't break? I think Agranak didn't. So again, we've got an appearance, got a backstory, we've got a character art, and so here we go. We've got the race, we've got customized background of being a bastard child. We've got all of these traits, ideals, flaws. We've got a little bit of an inventory, but not much because he's this big old giant. He doesn't want to carry anything around with him. He's got his stats, he's got his proficiencies. He's got all of these feats and traits and stuff. And then we've got all of these notes. Again, I've got my point buy notes. I've got his plan, I've got his short-term goal, I've got his mid-term goal, I've got a long-term goal, I've got the starting money I rolled, I've got notes about the setting, where somatic casts all spells need chalk, and you have to draw runes in the air, and you have to fire them. Just all of this kind of stuff, and all of everything filled in. But this is like a finished product that I was ready to play with, but unfortunately, I just really didn't like the DM, so I just quit the game. But this is a finished product. This is pretty much a finished product, as you can see. It's just, this isn't written out. But there is my approach on making characters. Again, this isn't the correct way to do it. This isn't the only way to do it. And this isn't the only way that I've done it. I've made characters in other ways as well. So with Agranak, I started with a custom homebrew race from the DM, because he's like, oh, my campaign has Orogs, which are giant orc beasts. And I'm like, playing one of them. And I started with race, and then I found artwork, and then I did everything else. With this, we started with artwork. Other times I've started with a class, because I'll join a campaign and the party will be like, well, we've got 2 rogues, a ranger, and a fighter. No one can heal, and we've gone down in every fight we've ever fought. And I'm like, alright, I guess I'll play a bard, or a cleric, or a druid, or something that will heal you guys. But speak to your other party members, speak to your DM, read everything about the setting if you can. If they've got handouts on the setting like I do, and there's a handout on the slum, and you want to be from the slum, read it. And if you think anything is missing, ask the DM. Be like, alright, I want to be from the slum. I've read the slum handout. What else can you tell me? If I'm from there, what do I know that isn't just general knowledge that's on a general handout? Who lives there? Who are the makers? Who are the movers? Who are the shakers? What's going on in the slum? What's the political climate? Is there a thieves guild? Is there an assassins guild? Do people break into the city by scaling the wall? Do they go through drainage pipes? What would my place in slum society be like? What's an average day in a slum goer's life? How much money do they have? Is there crime? Are there guards? Is there anything? Ask all these questions and you can really figure out a super precise situation for where your character's from. Again, none of this stuff works if your DM is like, okay, module is Curse of Strahd, write up a background on the Sword Coast, then you go into Curse of Strahd, and then you're in a different universe, different plane of existence, and like none of what you did or thought about matters because none of it comes up. I made that mistake with Curse of Strahd. I wrote a humongous, awesome backstory. Well, I think it's awesome. Came up with all of the family, came up with all of the places, came up with how they became all this, that, and the other, how it shaped them to who they are today. And then all of the past stuff didn't matter because you're in Curse of Strahd, you're in the Mists, you're in a different land. Everyone you've ever met is, like, irrelevant. So just think about stuff like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you've never played a character on 5e, just follow the steps that I did if you can. I was very back and forth. As you can see, with the jigsaw thing, I basically started in the top left corner, and then I thought, oh man, I've got some pieces that have blue in them. Do the bottom right corner, and I'm doing my noble background, picking skills, then buying items, then picking skills again, then buying more items, doing a weapon, then something else. Everything can come together in its own pace. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be like, right, now I am doing skills. I will do skills. Skills are being done, skills are done. Now I will do equipment. You can do bits and pieces here and there. You can start on one section, leave, come back to another one. I did that a bunch. Hope you guys had any value from this video at all. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Well, hopefully my editing software works again. Bye!